Mr. JT. Hey, man, I want to say thank you so much for reaching back out and commenting on the video, and also the video that you sent in response to. Well, it wasn't necessarily response. When I clicked on the video, because in the title I saw that it was speaking on celebrating birthdays, and I was like, oh, this must be somebody already having touched on this before. And I clicked the video, and it was you. And it looked like it was one of your old videos. I didn't get to see the timestamp, but I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, it's been touched on. Thank God, because sometimes it's a little discouraging to have something like a something of this like this topic, this subject matter, um that is I perceive to be very important, and I haven't heard on it anywhere. So so I wanted to say something on the comment. Um, Definitely understand what you're saying there. Um, Even more so, I actually have gotten some of the same responses. Somewhat in the same vein. I'll say what you had said about in the comment about it um, being demonic and not being cast into the lake of fire. I'm right there with you. Don't necessarily think it's something that condemns you to hell. Um, but I do believe, for one, that if he says not to do something, there's a reason behind it. And I'm going to elaborate on that here in just a second. But no, I don't necessarily believe or think, and I could be totally wrong. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's an issue of being condemned to hell for celebrating the birthday. Um, Even though, as you said, it's a pagan, it's an Egyptian practice. And as it said in Leviticus 18:3, it says, don't take on the practices of Egypt out of the land, And so I wanted to ask you a question on that. I'm trying to remember. There was something at the yeah, at the end of the comments you said it's probably not a condemnation to the hell or whatnot. Like I said, I'm right there with you. So the video that you had sent, um, it was a great video, and I was glad to hear that other people were asking questions about it in the same light, more so raising concerns from whatever I know you were talking about in the video about something. It was in response to a video that you had put up about your daughter's birthday, and some people had some things to say about it. And so I want to ask you this in regards to what you said about um and first and foremost, this is just to get a good understanding. Like I said, you're an OG in the game of being in the spirit. Um, and so I want to make sure that I've got your perception on point with this one. Like I'm understanding what you're saying. So oh, and it's also a learning thing for me as well. So I just want to make that clear. Um, what you said about, well, you first naming the birthday born day. You name the birthday born day. You know where the acts, the commemoration, and the specific, the blowing out the candles, cakes, all that, or whatever, where that comes from. I want to ask you, in knowing where the practice comes from, do you believe that that can be interpreted by God as a sin, especially knowing what it's coming from and doing it? I also want to ask you, do you think that there's any type of complacency or justification with going going through the actual act of celebrating the birthday, it being an Egyptian practice? And do you consider that like you're justifying um, why you do it, or why you choose to, rather? Because I mean, I know what you said about you know where it came from, but that's not the way you celebrate it or look at it, and you use that as like a reach one, teach one moment to where you never know where the spirit will hit you somebody at the party, and you can possibly witness to somebody. So I wanted to ask, based off of what you said in that regard, would you consider that a low level compromise or a low level justification behind celebrating something that God, the Lord said that we shouldn't? It's a part of a practice of a land of Egypt that we shouldn't be doing. I wanted to ask you, because I know you said we have to have discernment, and discernment in is it is that spiritual discernment, or is that your own discernment in that regard? Like, because I know you said the Lord knows our hearts, and my thing with it is the way that I get convicted in my spirit with it, as in things this whole time going through all of this, is that we have a tendency down here to say, okay, well, I know where it came from, but I'm not perceiving it that way, or I'm not recognizing it that way. To where it's about what we believe rather than what he believes about it, what he perceives it as. It to me, it's almost like leaning towards our own understanding when it says in a few scriptures throughout the Bible, it's evident. It basically sums it up. His knowledge and understanding supersedes ours. What we perceive here from the level of certain things, it's surface based. It's kind of like low hanging fruit, to where it's that low level justification almost in this. It's almost in this because it's very subtle. That's why I call it low level. It's very subtle, almost in the same vein as in you won't surely die, you can be as gods. And in Eve's mind, she kind of got that justification based off of her own perception of how he was deceiving and she was perceiving. And to me, it's like trying to align our it's trying to have him align with our beliefs and perception on certain things he says that we shouldn't do, rather than aligning with him, because he has a reason as to why he says you shouldn't do this. I mean, like you said, you talked about, it was the fallen, that came down with these practices, these everything from metallurgy, alchemy, metalsmithing, the makeup, everything. They were responsible for all of that, and so there were reasons why God said, "Hey, we shouldn't be doing these." And like you said, about the ritualistic aspect and the occult aspect of it, and the entities and the fallen, and how rituals work. Rituals are religious. They're practice. It's almost like it's practice makes perfect. It's a continuation of something to perfect, to achieve the perfection of something. Maybe not from our standpoint, but we know it as, I'm sure rituals are energy. They're not just practices. It's the transference of energy, homage, the invocation to a fallen demon entity, things like that. And whether willing or unwillful participation, it still boils down to you're you're participating. And so I wanted to ask you on that, because I know you said he knows our hearts, he knows our intentions, he knows our hearts, but do we know his? There's a certain there's certain things that come with him saying something. There's a reasoning behind it. He has his own reasoning. Doesn't necessarily. It's almost like a father to his son type of thing. Hey, don't do this. And this, I don't have to tell you why. Just don't do it. Well, even if the father did take it upon himself to say, hey, well, this is why, the kid lacks an understanding of the reasoning, the why behind it. He doesn't understand, and he won't understand until he becomes, reaches a certain age and says, okay, pops, I understand now. But as of right now, you just do what I say and don't ask no questions. It's not that you don't need to know, you just won't understand. And I could tell you, and you may have like a surface based low level understanding of it, but you won't get the full gist of it. So even in so here's the thing, and I know it's not necessarily like you said what like it's a condemnation, not like you're going to get cast in the lake of fire for it, but you have Eve, you've got Solomon, you've got Ahab, you've got the Israelites, you've got a lot of people that fell by the wayside from low level compromise that turned into high level compromise. And it always started out subtle. It always started from here, then it went there. It's like Kramer. It's like Kramer getting his foot in the door, and next thing you know, he's like, da da, you know, I'm here. What we eating? What we drinking? What we watching? How we gonna sin today? That's the way the enemy works. But he always gets his foot in the door, and it reaches a culmination of him being able to just swing the door open at any given moment, and that house is corrupted. That temple is corrupted. And so last thing. If you ever heard the term of heard this term, if you're going to be a monkey, be a gorilla, right? Excuse me. I used to hear that a lot as a kid. If you're going to be a monkey, be a gorilla. So you think of this in Matthew, when Jesus was talking to making his, rounds, and he was expanding or expounding upon the Ten Commandments. And there's a passage in there to where he talks about keeping certain things and not keeping certain things, and not necessarily if you don't keep certain things, you're going to be condemned to hell or anything. But, hey, you slipped, and it's the lesser being known as lesser or greater in the kingdom of heaven. So, if you look at it from what he said, he's fully aware we're never going to reach that upper echelon of perfection, and we're going to slip up. But it's that retrobate mind of doing and going back and being fully aware of said issue, sin, stumbling block, what have you, being fully aware and doing it. Well, hey, it's not going to get you a ticket to hell, but your rewards won't be that as great as they could have been. When you get up there, you get your new body, you get everything. There's actually, from what he said, like a hierarchy of blessings, rewards to achieve and receive when we get up there with him. And it's based off of our works down here. And when I found that out, I was like, wow, so I don't want the lesser. I want the greater. I want to be a gorilla in this. I don't want to be the monkey. I don't want to be the monkey. I want to be a gorilla in it. Hence 100%, or trying to achieve getting there. And some people would say that's almost a stumbling block in its own right, as far as, you're going to fall trying to achieve perfection. Well, it's just, it says be holy. Well, I am holy, so you should be holy. So we're doing the best that we can. We're wrapped in this devil's playground called flesh. Hence why we can't take it up there with us. It gets left here. We get brand new when we get up there. And so, in saying that, I just wanted your opinion on it. And definitely not in contention with you. Just perception. What I've learned is that nobody else is subjected to your own conviction, your own revelation, and your own Yeah, nobody else is subjected to it. If God gives it to you, it's yours until He, specifies otherwise. To, hey, this person needs to hear it, or you need to put this out there for this, and that. So, just wanted to, share my thoughts with that, and thanks again for taking the time to help me out with this, and just still sharp and still. So I'm looking to get sharp. You feel me? I'm looking for that sharp word, as it says in the Bible. That sharp word, that sharp discernment, and just want to see what you think, man. Peace and love. Have a good time with your family this weekend, and look forward to hearing from you. And I was in attendance for that live. It was my first live with you guys last night. Man, it was a blessing. It really was. AD's testimony was fire. Everything else was fire as well. But man, that testimony, man, jeez. And so, thanks again, man. Look forward to hearing from you, and look forward to your next live, man. Thanks a lot.